We are ready tonight to do just a little introduction. That's all it is tonight on the calendar of all calendars is kind of what it's called, and this is the calendar of Yahuwah. And like I said, it's just a little introduction tonight on the blueprint for the bride. And why do we say this? Well, because there's a lot of people that say, why do we ever have to study calendar? Like, I just don't get it. But you know what? As soon as you tell them something about the bride, it just seems like their ears perk up and they're all of a sudden interested to find out about the bride. So it's a very simple PowerPoint tonight, only about 36 slides. And let's just go through it and have fun with it and just see how we do. It's all about Yahuwah's covenant calendar. And we know that there is a lot of different kind of feast calendars in the world. It seems like in 2018, there was an explosion of feast calendars. And there's many, many more religious calendars. And all of them are claiming that they have the right calendar. They are the ones that know how to mark out the feast days for Yahuwah. And they know how to accurately find all of these feast days so that they can be in step with Yahuwah. Well, tonight we're going to challenge that because we are saying that this study that is based on the covenant calendar is rooted in the Torah books of Genesis and Exodus. And this is exactly where the book of the covenant is found and named, and it is blood ratified. So what we're here to tell you tonight at this calendar is not just an ordinary calendar. I believe it is fully blood ratified, everlasting. It is the calendar that Yahusha had to follow in order to be marked as the true Messiah. It's a little bit of a study to reel back all of the counterfeits, but it is still lots of fun. So I would like you to prayerfully ponder the following information. And we're just going to consider some scriptural titles and expressions. They're your expressions that you've heard before, and these are coming from King James Version language. Now, we like to use the sacred name, Yahuwah and Yahusha and Hamashiach, but this tonight, these next few slides are from the King James Version, and you'll see it's for a very specific reason. So I just want you to enjoy it right now, even though you probably really like sacred name. So here's the first slide with titles. Lord of Lords. Psalms 136:3. Oh, give thanks to the Lord of Lords, for his mercy endureth forever. And the question is, who is this Lord of Lords? Well, another title is King of Kings. In 1 Timothy 6:15, it says, which in his times he shall show, who is the blessed and only potentate, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And the question is, who is the King of Kings? Well, let's look at another title, Holy of Holies. I think you've probably heard this before. In 2 Chronicles 5:7, we read, and the priests brought in the ark of the covenant into the most holy place, even under the wings of the cherubims. And the question is, where is this most holy of holies? What would you say in calendar? Another title is Song of Songs. In Solomon 1:1, it says the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. And in Song of Solomon chapter 6 verse 3, it says, I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. And I have a question. What is this Song of Songs? And not only that, who is this beloved of beloveds? Who could that be? What about a waiting for that king? Have you ever thought about that? In Revelation 19:7, it tells us, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife has made herself ready. Why? Because she's waiting for the king. But the question is, who is this bride waiting for her beloved? Who could she be? Well, we are going to talk about a wedding of all weddings. It says in Matthew 23, 22:3, pardon me, and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding. This is the wedding of all weddings. Well, when is it going to happen? And what is it? And do you want to be there? Do you want to know who the bride is? I just have a little clip here from a devotional that I'm reading every day called Day by Day on the Best of Spurgeon, on the love and loveliness of Jesus. That's what it's called. You'll see that at the end of 3 slides. But I just took some things from this because it tells us about our beloved, longing for my beloved. And the scripture was Song of Songs 5:13. And here's what it said. His cheeks are like beds of spice to me. I will put on my best clothes and I will gather a bouquet of heavenly thoughts of my beloved because I find all loveliness and joy in him. I see his cheeks so often bedewed with tears of sympathy, and then so cruelly beaten with a rod and defiled with my spittle. Ah, that cheek smiles at me with the most fragrant mercy towards my heart. My beloved, you did not hide your face from shame and spitting. I will always find my dearest delight in praising you. Yes, your cheeks were crimsoned with blood from your thorn-crowned temples. It is these marks of boundless love that attract my soul, far more than the beds of scented herbs. Oh, if I may not see the whole of my beloved's face, then I would be content to behold his cheeks. For the slightest glimpse of him is exceedingly refreshing, and it yields to my spirit a variety of delights. In my beloved, I find not only fragrance, but beds of spice, not from one flower, but all kinds of sweet flowers. He is my rose, he is my lily, and my violet, and my cluster of henna. When you are with me, my beloved, my soul goes forth to wash my happy face in the morning dew of your grace. If I may not see the whole of your face, allow me to behold your cheeks, oh my precious beloved. I long for you. Let me truly know the blessedness that dwells in abiding through unbroken fellowship with you until that wedding day of all weddings in the universe. And my beloved says, well done, daughter, come. And I respond, yes, I will come. This is just part of one of the readings from this beautiful book on who is the beloved. And when you start to read about who our Yahushua HaMashiach really is, that he is the bridegroom. The bride wants to be ready for him. So this is what the calendar is all about. Walking in his steps, following his instructions, because she wants to have that relationship restored with her beloved. But there's a wedding. And how does she save the date? Because this is a wedding of all weddings that the bride is looking forward to. Well, she needs to understand how to calculate those festival appointed times. Where? On a pagan calendar? On a Jewish calendar? What kind of calendar? No, it is her beloved's calendar. That's what she wants to know, on his time frame, not hers. And that's why this study is going to be called the calendar of all calendars. And when you study the covenant calendar, you will find why this is the most incredible calendar to study. We're going to take a very brief look tonight at the blood covenant calendar of Moses. This is where it all begins, when Moses starts writing things down right there in Genesis 1. And we want to be just as a little child. We want to hear and we want to obey. We want to hear the Torah, we want to listen to the Torah, and we want to follow the Torah of Yahuwah. And I cannot tell you how many people that I end up talking to through email and through telephone, that when I hear their voices and they hear part of this message, they say, you know what, it rings of truth. I just want truth. That's what we all want, and that's what the bride wants. She says, I just want truth. I just want what Yahushua has for me to follow. In Matthew 18:4, whatsoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So tonight we're just going to be like little children. We're going to come and hear, and we want to set our hearts to obey. But you know, for some people, it's really hard to figure out what to obey when it seems like they look at calendars and there is nothing but incredible confusion. And it happened to me. It happens to a lot of us. You go start looking for different scriptural calendars out there, and you begin to wonder if anyone knows which one is right. And some of the problems come up like this, because some begin their festal calendars with the moon date that's closest to the equinox or the equilux. And then there's other calendars that begin with the first moon after the equinox or the equilux. That's different. And then there's some that say that the moon phase has to be the sighting of the first sliver moon, or you don't have the right calendar. And then the next person comes along and says, no, 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 that's completely wrong. You have to watch for the conjunction. And that's the dark part of the moon, that dark moon phase. And before you hardly even turn around, someone else has come and they said they're just absolutely sure that the moon has to be a full moon to begin the calendar month. Oh, a full moon. Well, I never heard of that. But there are those out there. And the list goes on and on and on. There's all kinds of ways to calculate a feast calendar. And there's barley in there, and there's all kinds of things. So the first assessment that we have to think about is all of these calendars, and I've only mentioned a few, cannot be right. Because for one thing, the equinox is completely different than the equilux. So all these calendars cannot be right. But there is also a second assessment. And I had to come to this point along with Tim. We had to say all of these calendars could be completely wrong. Now that's a possibility as well. So it was about back in 2013 or 2014 when we said, is there a solution to this dilemma? Can anybody answer a question like this? Well, we started looking and discovered that it doesn't matter what kind of a calendar you're looking at, whether it's Hebrew roots or Messianic or a pagan calendar or a barley calendar or what kind of calendar, every kind of calendar has certain characteristics. They will have day starts and day lengths. They will have a month start and month length. They will have year start and year, and they will have worship days on them. And they usually have appointed times and special holidays. Well, guess what? Those just happen to be the components of the covenant calendar that was given by Moses. He's got a day start and a day length so that you know what to do. He tells you when the month starts and he tells you how long it is. And Moses has also written down when the year begins and how long the year is. And of course, there's worship days and those appointed times. And they're all rooted in covenant Torah. We're going to talk about that as well. So as we go ahead in this study, it's just very, very brief. The focus of this study is going to be day start